control when it hits.
Oh, it's story time, story time, story, story, story. That's right. I think your nighttime sleeping medicine's kicking in, Bricky. Alright. We're having a lot of fun with these bedtime stories by Philip Hawthorne. So we're going to continue with this book. Because we like them. We are on, I think we're going to do just the next one down, which is, no wait, I'm going to mix it up.
I'm going to read number 5.
That's funny, because number 5 is the next one on the list. Alright, number 5 it is. The Princess and the Pea.
Oh, I already read that one.
Oh, then we're not doing that one. The Squire's Bride is the next one down. Number 34. So let's watch the bottom of our pages. Number 34. Ooh, we went too far. All right. It says, The Squire's Bride. There was once an old squire who was very rich. Bum, it looks grouchy, though. His pockets bulged with his money, and his waistcoat bulged with his fat, overfed stomach. He lived in a huge house and owned all the land as far as the eye could see. He had everything a man might want. Well, everything, that is, except a wife. So he set out to find one. I'm so rich, I can choose whoever I want, he told his dog. They will be queuing up to marry me. One day the old squire was admiring his fields of golden corn when he spotted the farmer's daughter. Ho, ho, he exclaimed. I can see a wife to be, so young, so strong. Then his eyes narrowed with greed. She will save me money when she's my wife because I won't have to pay her to work. So he invited the girl to his mansion that afternoon. When she arrived, he said pompously, I have news for you. I've decided to get married, and I've chosen you to be my wife. Oh, have you now? Said the farmer's daughter. Well, I've got news for you, and I don't want to get wed. And even if I did, you'd be the last person I'd choose. The squire couldn't believe his ears. But you must be joking, he said. Do you see me laughing? She replied. My answer is no, and it will stay no until cows lay eggs and pigs fly. And before he could say another word, she jumped up and marched out of the house.
Good for her.
The squire's face grew bright red, and stamping his foot with rage, he sent for the farmer. That girl of yours is as stubborn as a lazy old donkey, he roared. I'll tell you what. If you can get her to marry me, I'll never charge you another rent. Well, then the squire pointed out of the window. And what's more, you can have that meadow. The one full of poppies and daisies. Well, now the farmer had wanted that meadow for many a long year. And no more rent either. So he said, Yes, sir. That foolish daughter of mine has never known what's best for her. Maybe if we put our heads together, we can come up with a plan that will please everybody. I bet he has no idea Sherry said no. So that's what they did. And this was the plan they made. The squire would arrange the wedding, with guests, cake, and a beautiful dress at the ready. And then on the wedding day, the farmer would tell his daughter that she was wanted for work at the big house. They were sure that when she arrived and saw everyone assembled for the wedding, she'd be too afraid to say no. Some weeks later, on the wedding day, the squire called his stable boy and ordered, "Go quickly to the farm and fetch what has been promised to me." While Alfred and the stable boy, meeting the farmer on the road, said, "Oh, please, sir, I've come to fetch what you promised the squire." "Oh, ay," replied the farmer with a smile. "She's down in the meadow." Well, the stable boy ran off again and soon arrived at the meadow where the farmer's daughter was busy raking hay. Miss, he panted, "I've come to fetch what your father promised the squire." Well, the girl realized at once what the two old men were up to, so pointing at the old gray mare nibbling the grass nearby, she said, "There she is, take her." Well, the stable boy leapt on the mare and galloped back to the squire's mansion as fast as possible, which wasn't very fast, as the mare was very old. And then he called up to the squire's window, "Excuse me, your squireship, I brought her. She's down here." Well done," said the squire, thinking the boy had brought the farmer's daughter. "Take her upstairs to my mother's old room." But, sir?" cried the stable boy. "No buts, boy. Just do as I say at once," bellowed the squire. Well, it wasn't at all easy persuading the mare to climb the stairs. The stable boy pushed and groaned, and the other servants shoved and grunted, and this went on for over an hour until at last he succeeded in getting her into the bedroom. "Whew, we've done it," called the stable boy. "Isn't she stubborn?" "Oh, yes, she certainly is," replied the squire. "Now, quickly, fetch the maids and dress her in the wedding gown. There's no time to lose." Well, the stable boy could hardly believe his ears, but he carried out the squire's orders all the same. The maids shrieked and giggled as they tugged at the dress to pull it over the mare's bottom, and finally they set the wedding veil between her ears. "Oh, she's ready," called the boy again. "Well, bring her downstairs. Open the door and announce the bride to all my guests," replied the squire, checking his hair in a mirror. Okay, sir," said the boy. And with lots of bumps and thumps, the old gray mare was brought downstairs. The boy threw open the front door, and all the guests who were gathered in the garden turned to view the squire's bride, and there stood the mare with her veil all crooked, munching the bridal bouquet. After a few seconds of stunned silence, the guests, the maids, and the stable boy began to laugh loudly. This frightened the poor old mare so much that she galloped off back to the peace and quiet of her meadow. As for the squire, he was so taken aback that he sat down on his hat and squished it flat. In a far-off field, the farmer's daughter sang as she worked. And as she sang, she thought about her future, which featured no squires at all. The end.
That's funny.
It's a lot of assuming in that one. All right, we're going to go on with story number 2. Funny little stories, these. The King and His 3 Children. A long time ago, in a land far away, there lived an old king with 3 children. They were called Prince Crispin, Prince Horace, and Princess Emily. Well, the king loved them all dearly, but he knew that he had to choose one to be the next king or queen. As he got older, the king worried about this more and more. Oh, poor old king. It kept him awake at night. Who would make the best ruler? He asked his teddy bear. Then one morning he woke up with an idea. He called his children into his throne room and said, "Now, you know that I love you all." They nodded. "But I can only choose one of you to rule when I die. So I'm going to give you a test." He reached into his pocket. "Here is a gold coin for each of you. Whoever can use it to fill the palace from top to bottom will be the next king or queen."
Fill it with what?
He didn't say. So although this worried the royal children, as the palace had 75 rooms and miles of passages, they decided the test was a fair one. So each set off in search of something that would fill it. Prince Crispin went to sit in the palace garden to ponder. On a tree nearby, he saw a bird building its nest with twigs and feathers. "That's it!" he cried. "Feathers! With my gold coin, I can buy millions of feathers. They'll easily fill the palace." So off he went to see the man who made feather beds. "How many feathers would you sell me for this gold coin?" asked Prince Crispin. Well, the feather bed man's eyes grew wide at the sight of the gold. "5 wagon loads," he replied. "Agreed," said Prince Crispin, and soon he was riding back to the palace with 5 wagons and a big smile. Prince Horace went to the market. He looked around at the rolls of cloth, jars of jam, and strings of onions. "Oh dear," he sighed, "one gold coin won't buy enough of these things to fill the palace." He was just about to give up when he heard the sound of a shepherd boy playing a flute. An idea struck him at once. "Will you sell me your flute for gold coin?" said Prince Horace to the shepherd boy. "You bet," came the reply. So the prince handed over the coin, and all the way home he played a happy tune on his new flute. Princess Emily spent all day searching the town for something to buy. "It's no good," she said. "The palace is just too big. I shall just have to tell Father that I've failed." But then, as she turned the corner, her eye was caught by a glimmer of light from a small shop. She looked in at the window and saw the shopkeeper lighting candles and putting them in lanterns. "Of course!" exclaimed the princess. She rushed into the shop and bought as many candles as she could. Then she ran back to the palace with her bundle, more pleased than a flea on a shaggy dog. Well, that evening in the throne room, the king said to his 3 children, "Show me what you bought, then I can choose who will succeed me." Well, Prince Crispin brought in his feathers, which flew everywhere and made everyone sneeze. Achoo! 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 Ooh, achoo! 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 And when they had settled, they only filled 20 rooms of the palace. "Well done. A good try," said the king. "Off lummox," said Prince Crispin. Well, Prince Horace took out the flute he had bought. He put it to his lips and began to play a tune. When he had finished, everyone looked very puzzled. "Don't you see," said the prince, "I've filled the palace with music." "Oh, that's brilliant," said the king. "No one will beat that." "Just a moment, father," said Princess Emily. "Hadn't we better check that the music reached the cellar and the attic?" "Oh, quite right," said the king. So dispatching 2 servants to the topmost and bottommost parts of the palace. "Now then, Horace, play again." His son played an even louder tune. After a while, the servants came back. "When you gonna start?" they said. Prince Crispin grinned. "They haven't heard the music, so it hasn't filled the whole palace." "Oh, flummox," said Prince Horace. So now it was the turn of Princess Emily, and everyone laughed when they saw her small bundle. She opened it and sent the servants off to put candles into lanterns all over the palace. "Make sure you put a lantern in every room," she ordered, "and don't forget the cellar and the attic." Then she went round and lit every candle herself. "There you are, father," said the princess. "I filled the whole palace with light." The king was delighted and hugged his daughter. "Ah, you are the winner. 3 cheers for the future queen." "Oh, devil flummox," said the brothers. Well, Princess Emily became a very good queen. Her people were very happy. Every year after that, to celebrate her birthday, candles were lit in every house. This meant that not just the palace, but the whole land was filled with light. The end. And those were our 2 stories tonight. I like these stories. They're super cute. We will read more of these tomorrow night. Once again, around 9-ish o'clock. Because, that's life. That's life. But right now it is time to close our eyes and drift off to sleepy time and have good dreams. Some people in this house are already asleep, and I'm going to join them very shortly. But now it's time to sing our goodnight song. So thanks for joining us on Storytime with Mama Jen and Friends. Don't forget you can find us on our YouTube channel with the same name, Mama Jen and Friends. You can find lots and lots of different stories. But time to sing our goodnight song. Good night, sleep tight, sweet dreams, I love you. Sing with me, come on. Good night, sleep tight, sweet dreams, I love you. I love you, my friends, just the way you are. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at another time. Good night.